Now, I didn't even take a second. It's 1001 and I pushed the button again, just picking up where I left off. We're just going to go through these groups that I pulled. These I have in a bin that I've sort of considered, I hate to say older. There's such a relative term to that when it comes to Stone Age tools. These are from all over my different sites, but they had particular qualities that landed them in the same one display area. Let's take a look at them. We've got a long piece here. That's a really unique piece because I never found one, and I've now probably a little above 13,500 artifacts in the time I've been collecting for about maybe 6 years intelligently. Never found a long marble mountain like this. Atlatl. Commissioned by an atlatl. Not a bow, everybody. For those of you who are brand new. These are none of these that you're looking at are shot with a bow, but an atlatl. And here's another great piece from Mecca. It is a mission critical tool series, just to give somebody and some people out there a look at some of the artifacts that can be found in at least eastern North Carolina. And today, some of the artifacts that all of them that I consider what they needed for their life. Their life demanded tools, mission critical tools. I've always liked that piece. It doesn't really click. It's not a repetition of any of my other pieces. It's very different than many that I found. That's why all of these are right here in this small group. Here's a great piece from the Falcon. And every piece that I see, like these or like the stones we looked at, hammer stones, these are mission critical things. Their life and the mission that they had wasn't just that they liked to do this. They didn't eat. They didn't survive the elements if they didn't have tools to make their shelters, to condition hides and skins. You can forget it. The elements were harsh. And so there's a whole mix of mission critical tools here. This is a great piece from Smoke Alley. It's a very unique sort of it is an atlatl dart, but it's a tip. Couldn't get that hump right off the back, but it didn't matter to them, I'm sure. Coming at velocity, I'm going to tell you what, I wouldn't want to be hit with that. Because nothing was going to stop that stone. It was an armor-piercing tip for sure. Good stuff. Good stuff. Mission critical tools. Here's a piece on this set from the clay pot. What I like about it is when I really was discovering the clay pot, this thing was just, it was a good video. A lot of these you could go back in time and find on video, but I don't see them that often, and that's a promise that you really haven't seen them that often. Look at the color on that. It's a favorite piece. Not many others that I find even close to related to that kind of stuff. That's a great group of mission critical tools. And I'll just go over to these scrapers. And we'll probably do one more. It'll be a 3-part series. These are all scrapers, every inch of them. Look at this piece though from Mecca. It is in sugar quartz. And it's uniface. I think that's what that means, one-sided. Flat as can be there, completely worked off the edges, and if we know scrapers, we know how common it is to find this bit, look at this piece behind it, in a triangle type of shape. So that scraper is unique. I haven't had one, and granted, we find thousands of artifacts out there. So those of you who are just tuning in and checking this stuff out, what you're seeing to me is rare, and I find a ton, relatively, of stuff. Mission critical tools. That scraper was, and sugar quartz is really resilient, so I know that saw a lot of work. And that would do the job for sure. Just as any of this. And it's funny, because I don't find a lot of points made out of this, what you're looking at right here. But I do find an occasional scraper made the same size and shape, thumb scraper, made out of this flint. I don't find points though. It's so strange, isn't it? But, having a good scraper that was going to do the job they needed to have done, it was demanded of them. Life demanded these tools. Look at that picture. Was just as important as, gaining the animals, getting the game, or making the pieces of rock that would be converted into things like this, or things like this. Mission critical things. Here's a piece just for the love of the color, and that I could tell that every edge, super hard, was designed, and they just kept it. Well, if it was you or me and you were conditioning hide and scraping it, you'd be just happy because of the color too. That's no problem. But it's a great scraper. The color's phenomenal. And here's a piece of quartz. Again, fairly flat here. Worked off on all the edges. Thumb scrapers. I consider mission critical. You would. To tell you, it doesn't matter what type of animal it was. And there was a whole basket full of different animals that they needed to harvest. And they went ahead and continued. Used them all. And used the hides. Here's a great piece from the strip over to Site 5E. I'll be just as happy any day when I find a nice, just well thought scraper to many of the field points that I've found that are just everyday expendable artillery for animals. Many times I'll be, tremendously happy to find scrapers. Trying to get the best still life so I can sign off of this video. Appreciate everybody tuning into Indian Trace. Let's roll forward. We'll go on to the next one.